I'm here with you. I'm here with all of you. Welcome.
We have wasted a minute waiting for Zulu to introduce this episode.
Because you don't know when it's going to come in the mix of something.
Don't give up, Damola. Power through.
Why are we doing 4 movies back to back to back and just, trying to kill ourselves?
We make big films. People who work on big films enhance their creds.
And it forces you to grow.
You have to shepherd the film from development all the way to release. Yes! Yeah. You have to play the game on the field.
I think when we get to this point that you're afraid of, we'll know what to do. Welcome to a new dispensation.
Yeah, she's trying to be cool and hop on the what's it called name, but she doesn't know that it's only for travel. Where are you traveling to?
By the grace of God. Welcome to yet another episode. Is this the first one?
Solo episode.
Right.
It's just an episode.
It's just an episode.
Please, our solo episodes are important.
Because you don't know when it's going to come in the mix of something. So
welcome to another episode of the Inkblot Meet and Greet podcast. With your anchors.
Can we take it from the beginning? Can we take it from the beginning?
Why? Don't give up, Damola. Power through.
That's what I'm saying. So let's take it from the top.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Inkblot Meet and Greet.
Just 1 month break, so literally we have wasted a minute waiting for Zulu to introduce this episode.
With your anchors.
Damola.
You pointed at me and you said, see? Naz.
And Zulu.
Yes.
Thank God. That was good. That was painful.
Yes. So we have struggled to introduce the episode.
Yeah, thank God.
Unlike the rest of you audience, Misha, I like our solo episodes. I just think you guys need to embrace that the 3 of us alone are enough.
No, but you guys need to tell us, are we not important? Because we're behind the scenes, you don't want to come and now watch what we have to say.
Actually, our solo episodes are doing pretty well.
They are not pretty well is not fantastic.
Pretty
Other
well.
podcasts, they're like, yes, please, we want to hear the solo people. But you people, you're like, where are the stars?
Guys, y'all need to encourage me. I don't know about these ones. Encourage me. If not, I'll stop this. I will stop it.
So,
in the comments, encourage Zulu.
Please, do not mind Zulu. Do not care about these people. I don't care about them myself, so I understand how you guys feel. But today's episode is going to be very, very interesting. We have a number of topics.
We have a number. We're just going to be gisting about the random things, to be honest.
Yeah, so by now we have announced our 3rd feature film that we're shooting this year.
Okay, so let's reverse back, like Nigerians will say, and say, first of all...
And cut your hand.
No. So first of all, we announced that we're doing Charge and Bill, which is a movie coming out October 15th.
It has already come out now.
Yes. It's a movie coming out October 15th. I'm just saying now.
No, pretend that we're in the future.
Okay. It has already come out. It's out in cinemas. I'm sure you've seen it. You like it. Has Zainab, has Taninze, has Chigel, has Chris Clown, has a bunch of other people that I'm not going to call right now because there are plenty. Yes. Then, after that,
teaser.
Because for you to have seen the movie, you've seen premiere photos, you've seen teaser, you've seen...
No, I mean the teaser for Superstar.
Yeah, then you've seen... No, now.
Yes, now. Think about when this episode is going to show up.
Now you've confused me. Now I do because they are jobbing for. Let me just announce it as okay, fine. There's this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bear with us. This is not a day job. Carry on.
Then December we have Superstar coming up, which has Nancy and Sime. We have Timini. We have Tamil.
Teniola, what's that name?
Aladeshe.
Pronunciation.
Yes. Ufoma McDermott, Eko Dewo,
Who also produced, by the way.
Who also produced those 2 movies. Alongside Matilda.
Alongside Matilda.
Then, I'm sure you guys have also seen some announcement videos where we talk about another movie coming up, which is
The Blood Covenant.
Written, directed, produced by Zulu, who basically produced by Zulu.
It's not me, please. In case Juju people want to come, it's not me.
So yes, it's a Juju movie. It's a movie about Juju. So that's coming out. That has...
Oh, it has some... Should we okay.
By now, we've announced it now.
Oh, yeah. By now, we've announced this. Guys, please, again, it's not our day job. It has Toby Bakre. It has Sean Fakwa. It has Uzo Arukwe. It has Alexei Kubo. It has Eric Kakakakaka Nlewedim. It has Omaomi Dada. Has Shalewa Shafa. It has Olaya Igwe.
Okay, it's okay. No. You didn't do the same thing. See, when we started talking about Juju, you started calling names. When we were telling you to call the names for the other one, you were saying, no, let's not talk.
And I think since this is our podcast and it's our company, we can also give you an exclusive.
Exclusive.
That the fourth film is currently untitled.
Okay.
Yes. It's currently untitled, but starring Sharon Oja.
Yeah, Sharon.
And Bimbo Ademoye. And we haven't cast anybody else.
So,
Edem. And Teresa Edem.
Yeah.
So Teresa Edem.
Okay, so this is the one she's in. I said she was in Blood Covenant.
No, she's not in Blood Covenant.
She's not in Blood Covenant. She's in Decency.
So now this is what happens when you've been working on four film projects back to back. You start to confuse things.
Yes.
So question, guys. Why are we doing 4 movies back to back and just, trying to kill ourselves?
Because we love the theatrical experience.
No, we don't.
You don't. We do. It's the most stressful part of the business because you are not done when you film.
Yes.
You are, so like it is, you have to shepherd the film from development all the way to release. Every film is at least a 6-month journey.
And then after release, you want to sell to them.
Yeah, so yes, exactly.
It's a lifetime.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take it from the beginning. We've got these 4 movies. So let's go back to the top. Why 4 movies? Why did we hatch this idea to back on this experiment?
Because there are a million people with so many fantastic ideas and stories and great talents that we just knew we had to work with. And so we made space for them.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And we believe in the future of Nigerian cinema.
Yep.
And we're going to invest in it. Hoo-ha. Yes. And so it gives you the opportunity to work with many. So when you're doing 1 or 2 films a year, you are basically working with, if it's not Niyi, if it's not, who else do we work with a lot? Kayode. You basically, whatever you saw on the podcast, we basically collaborate Kayode to do a film. So you get for when you broaden your slate, you can work with more directors, more actors, more writers, more producers, photographers. So it just allows us, and because
more PAs.
Yes, we feel like it's a pathway to explore more talent, right?
Industry building. That's
please. We also like money, please.
I don't mean the industry building where you're like
charity.
Building like charity. I mean industry building where we're expanding because the commercial side of things, which is where we play, is what actually brings investors into the business. It's what actually grows the industry.
Because we make big films, people who work on big films enhance their creds. So basically, if you're like a costume designer on Superstar, or your costume designer on Charge of Bail, or hair and makeup on Blood Covenant, you're working on a big film that's going to get a wide theatrical release and end up on a streamer, etc., etc. So that adds to your creds and gives you the ability to say, I did that.
Yeah.
And so cinema is loud, and so we like the loudness, and this is
I'm not doubting the fact that I think the only thing. Cinema is loud in the sense that there is a huge theatrical window. You get people to come out for a premiere, it's showing, they're seeing audience reactions, people are doing reviews online about movies and all of those kind of things. Great. But then other people will say, why do you need to do so many and why do we... because if you look at it, we're pretty much releasing a movie every 3 months.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's important I guess our thesis is growth, right? We can continue to do 2 movies a year forever. It's bread and butter, but for us, it's how do we push and go to the next generation of Inkblot? How do we build out our army?
No, I get that part, but then somebody will now say, but are you going to give your time to it? Is it going to be as good? Because it's kind of like you're rushing. Then they now start to make references to back in the day when, you shoot a Nollywood movie in 2 weeks.
But you see that
back in the day, you don't shoot Nollywood movie.
No, I'm just saying that was the rumor. About 3 days. So that was the rumor.
No, but you see, that's why it's good, because it forces you to work with new people. Right? So you cannot have the same talent pool, the same actors, the same directors if you're working. So you need dedicated teams across.
No, I know that.
And then remember that the West does this thing.
No, I know that. So for example...
It can be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not even that. Mine is this. If you want to grow, so if you look at a studio like Universal and Co., they do about 10 to 12 movies a year. Some in collaboration with a bunch of other people, but then there are some that it's purely them. They take it from development all the way through. So if pretty much like it's a goal to set where you want to be like those kinds of people, where you're looking at the Nigerian environment and you're willing to say that in spite of the Nigerian environment, but with the wide talent pool that we have here, why can't we stretch ourselves a little and then achieve this where we can now hit? We can make 4 movies and the 4 movies will be just as good as when we're doing 1 movie a year, 2 movies a year. And it gives opportunity.
And it forces you to grow. You know? Put in structures.
Because believe me,
things look better.
Because you have to set up a team. You have to set up a team because when you think about it, by the time you finish development of 1, you're shooting 1, you're moving into you're in post for 1.
So you're marketing that one.
You're in pre-production for another one, then you're shooting another one. So that way, it can't be the same people. If you don't have a structure in place, that's not possible.
I mean, and I think that we're benefiting from the growth of Nollywood in general, right? So a lot of people have also done big studio movies, big theatrical movies, so the experience is widespread. And so we're able to shamelessly cherry pick the best of the best, and because we're able to offer them opportunities to work on stuff that's fun. I mean, and so I think for us, it just allows us to say this is where we are hanging our hat. I mean, of course, we love streamers and we love direct to streaming and all those things, and that's important. But we came up making theatrical movies, and this is us saying we love the theatrical experience and we're going to continue to double down on it. Of course, we want more cinemas, but we are figuring out how do we maximize it. And so, and I think it's also fun because, I mean, look at when we did Charge and Bail, you know, Uyi got to go out, see her name on billboards, her name on buses.
So super excited.
And it's important, right? So we get to give opportunities to visionary filmmakers who may not have gotten an opportunity. So they are good, they can handle big budget stuff, but those opportunities are not readily available because most people are worried about, if this is my one film, but for us, we don't have one film. So we're like, okay, who are the visionary filmmakers that haven't got the opportunity to make films at the level that we make? How do we work with them? How do we set them up for success? How do we give them the platform to show what they can do? And it's very exciting for me to be that at least these 4 films, we're doing that. And we also maintain parity, 50-50, baby.
So I'll go back and explain that 50-50 bit. But even my own is just this.
It's the director I'm talking about.
No one can come and drag me tomorrow and say, we're not seeing new people in Nollywood. We're not seeing, there's always the same set of people. Please, if anybody tries to drag us, I will point at these 4 movies and say, please, go and watch them.
Just point at the whole of 2021 because there was also the series we did.
Yes, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
So,
with new directors.
yes. I've got every once in a while that, yes, I'm a budding director, yes. Tell them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where, yes, everybody is a little precious when it is one movie. That one movie now becomes all you do and they are holding on to. But when you are doing 4 movies, it's completely different. You have to set up everything. You have to then be dispassionate about each movie and hand it off to other people to do because, you know, you can't handle it all yourself. I can't imagine reading all 4 scripts.
Why would you not read all 4 scripts? Well, you have confessed.
What I'm saying is this, I cannot imagine reading all 4 scripts and expecting to see it through from start to finish all by myself. I have to, you have to learn.
Film is collaborative.
Yeah, you have to basically let other people take on some parts of it and then release this budget. All right, cool. So we've talked about those 4 movies.
But let's talk about marketing of it. Let's talk about marketing of it. And I think this part is important.
Yep.
So one of the debates we were having at the beginning of the year was basically whether we should, before we actually started the release, whether we should treat all the films as an event, irrespective of what it was.
Yes.
And because, you know, there's a certain budget that entails, the gala premiere, the billboards, the social, a lot of those things, the intensity of the marketing campaign. So it was, I mean, I was initially on the side of should we, but I'm actually glad we said, you know what, the fact that we're making it makes it an event. Yes. So basically, I would be good to hear your thesis as to why that was the direction that you insisted we go in.
So when you look at it, you have 4 movies. So it's one of those things where back then I was relating it to Marvel and DC. DC has had a string of not so good superhero movies as a result, unlike Marvel, right? So Marvel, because they've had so many good movies, people trust them. So because of that, you know the next movie is coming up. Even if you know nothing about that movie, you've never read the comic, you show up for it, right? DC had like Batman, the Nolan Batmans doing that same thing. But then the moment they started having the bad ones, there was a lot of reticence towards going to the cinema for the other ones, right? Which was why people were clamoring for the Snyder Cut of Justice League, because that was the only thing that they could reference. So I'm not sure if I'm making sense here, but what I'm trying to say is that for us was that I wanted a situation where we had movies that were coming out and I needed our movies to be able to cut through. I just didn't want us to drop a movie in cinema and say, look, yes, we're trying to give opportunities to people, but at the same time, we feel these movies are special. We need to carry that. Yes, we need to carry that across and let the audience believe that it's also special. Again, looking at COVID, and I've said this several times, COVID did a number on cinemas where right about now, there are no more. Back then, you would see like an A-list Hollywood movie. So that's like your Aquaman, your superhero movies. That's an A-list Hollywood movie, or like your James Bond. Then you would see like your B-list Nollywood movie, which is maybe
the B-list Nollywood or Hollywood.
The B-list Hollywood movie.
Okay, Wrath of Man.
That's a C-list stuff.
No, people went to see it more. Mortal Kombat.
No, Wrath of Man is like your C-list, and then your what they call it, Mortal Kombat might be like a B-list, right? Then your Marvel and your Disney movies are like your A-list, right? Now those three movies are coming to cinema pretty much every month. Right? Scattered across that month.
Pre-COVID, right?
Yeah, pre-COVID. They're coming like every month, scattered across COVID. And then your Hollywood movies are constantly competing against those ones. Right?
Your
Nollywood movies. That's Nigerian movies are constantly competing against those movies. COVID came in and COVID basically wiped out B and C. Where right about now, it's only the big Hollywood movies that people are showing up for. Right? So for us, there's that opportunity right now that there's room on the calendar. We as an audience, we as a producer right now can put a movie out there when people will come and see it. But I don't want to be competing against B and C. I want a situation where if I make a lot of noise about my movie, it becomes a tentpole. And then when it becomes a tentpole, it then becomes A-list Hollywood, A-list Nollywood. And then my producer, my exhibitors, my cinema guys will give me better time slots, right? Because they've seen the marketing for it. They also feel that this is a big movie, so they'll give us better times. They'll give us more time slots in the course of the day. So that's why I felt that, look, let's not just drop it. Let's not be conservative. Let's go all out for all of these movies and then make them seem like they're big movies. They're coming out every 3 months. So pretty much like as one movie is in cinema, we already started flogging the next one. And it creates that domino effect that Marvel has, where because you like this one and you start to see the trailer for our next movie, you're already making out time to say, hey, I want to come and see that one 3 months down the line. And 3 months is a very short time. So you would remember.
It sounds like if you love Chanel No. 5.
Yes. So if you like this perfume, if you like CK1, you will like Damola.
No, but I also think that in general, I feel like every producer should actually look at, making every film they do an event film when it comes to the marketing. Just because
it's tough.
Even if I know it's tough, but it's something that people should start involving, including in their budgeting. Because even if you make a film for 200 million, 250 million, right? If you just dropped it, nobody will know it exists. So if you make a film for 10 million and you just dropped it, nobody will know it exists. So both of them need the same amount of money to market.
Is the challenge, right? Is the challenge that we have where I was telling someone recently, they were like, oh, I have a movie, blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, fine. Beyond the script, I think the script is going to be great. It's going to be a great movie. So the first question I asked them was, and you know me, my own focus is always marketing. So I was like, so how much, so what's your budget for this movie? And they said, well, we're looking at 70 million. I'm like, oh, great. Okay, I'll take a chance and I'll read the script. Now I'm like, okay, so how much are you planning to spend on marketing? And the person was like, well, right about now, we haven't really talked about that, but maybe we'll spend 3 million. And then I was like, you know what, there's no point reading the script. There's no point spending 70 million on it, because believe me, you're never going to make that money back.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's pretty, if you look at what's the Hollywood rule right now, they spend 20 to 40%? on a movie based on the size of the movie.
Yes.
20% of the budget of the film?
There's a minimum budget. So if you're doing a wide release, so if let's say in the US, that's what 3,000, 4,000 screens or whatever, there's a minimum you must spend.
$30 million.
Yes, I think that's the number. And then anything, if you're doing blockbusters, that number goes up to like 50 million, 60 million. In some cases, it can even be as much as the budget, depending on how worldwide it is. But that minimum number, you have to spend it because that's the minimum base level awareness.
Base level to even just get base level awareness. So that's me saying that I'm doing a small movie like, okay, so if you remember John Wick 1, which technically was a small budget.
I know, right? Can you imagine?
It always enters. I always, that's always a good way for me to bring it in, please. Look, I will always find a way. So John Wick 1 was a small movie and their marketing budget was very small as compared to the marketing budget and the production budget for 2 and 3 and 4. But if you look at it, Nigerians will tell you that, oh, I want this movie to be big. I want this movie to make a smash in cinemas. And then you ask them how much is their marketing budget and they'll tell you 5 million. They'll tell you sometimes that they don't even know it doesn't exist. How is that movie going to sell?
Yeah.
So I think the thesis that they make is social media alone is enough. And so if I have enough celebrities and the awareness push, but you see, I think that but I think also it is part of the whole, what I call institutionalization of the business, right? Most producers are not marketers by definition, right? And in Hollywood, they have marketing departments. So the fact that most producers have to be the ones driving marketing is also a problem, right? So you see that when people are able to advise them and say, okay, this is how you release a film, this is what you do. I mean, look at Eva DuVernay. That's what she did before she became a filmmaker. Yeah. Like she was a publicist, working on release, right? So when they are basically firms that are able to advise you and say, okay, based on this film, we have watched it, the minimum we think you should spend is 10 million or 15 million, and you should place it here, then the producer doesn't feel as left at sea, right? Because you see, that person works for the producer. I mean, so yes, of course, we have distributors, Film One, Blue Pictures, etc. But I still don't think that you should leave your marketing in the hands of the distributor. The way Nigeria is the Nigerian cinema landscape is currently constituted. Yes, they can provide input, they can provide strategic guidance, all of that.
No, they provide input, they provide advice, they talk, but actual execution.
Yes, like the materials, like everything, the trailers. You need to figure out and then the other thing is this, you need to do a lot of material. Like, I always worry when I see a trailer and a poster as the only pieces of content that get released. Like, we normally do 20, 30 pieces of content across the release. Maybe even 50 depending on how you spin and because you have to figure out, because that marketing part is because if it's the gruntiest work in a weird way, because it doesn't come naturally to people who make films. Yes. Because of that, you shy away from it. Like all those, the trailer and the poster and the teaser, okay, those ones are, but then you are doing the random social media clips, you are doing the media rounds, you are doing the.
So when you look at it, then think. So the easiest way I can relate, I can explain this is, everyone knows Coca-Cola. We all know Coca-Cola. Ask a 5-year-old kid right now about Coca-Cola. They know what Coca-Cola is. But Coca-Cola still advertises on the regular. You would assume that because everybody knows it, right? They should be able to sit back and say, hey, don't worry, for the next 6 months, we will not advertise. But they still do. So now think about it. And I love this part when someone says, but don't worry, my movie is so good that it will sell itself. I'm like, yes.
Well, I mean, true.
One or two copies.
If a movie is if a movie is really good, word of mouth really pushes it. However, even if word of mouth pushes stuff, you still need.
No, but you see, that works in streaming, right? So in streaming, word of mouth is the primary driver of what. I mean, look at Squid Game, right? Squid Game was only marketed in Korea.
I only just started watching it.
No, sorry.
They've written articles about this, Damola.
Sorry, it wasn't marketed. So the thing about when people say that Netflix and word of mouth, the crazy thing about the algorithm is that it basically puts. I think I kept seeing Squid Game on my timeline. I'm not going to on my screen constantly. For like about a week before I finally watch it. But it's like me constantly asking you, do you want this? Are you going to eat this? Are you going to eat this? Are you going to eat this? Before I eat it.
No, but but it's going to be the highest watched show on Netflix, surpassing Bridgerton. So but they show you they show you everything.
No. Not everything.
They show you every big thing. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Sex education. Wait, now they showed you sex and you watched it. Yes,
Wait,
now,
no. Sex Education was because I had seen 3 seasons of that. But give me something that is obscure. Give me something that is obscure.
No. But Sex Education it did well.
So, for example, Swallow never showed up on my timeline.
So that's because you don't watch Queen and Falling Your Feet. It showed up on mine.
Were they constantly offering it to you?
Yes, now. Because it was the top tag because I watch a lot of Nollywood. So Damola, when is the last time you watched Nollywood on our platform?
On whose platform?
Netflix.
When did Netflix become our platform?
It's our platform. We have 10 films on Netflix. It is our platform.
It's our platform now.
Yes.
I mean, I watched what you call it, Smart Money Woman. I watched King of Boys. You came to my house to watch King of Boys. Come on. Yes, So simple. Yes.
So in a month, that's why you have not been watching series, not the movies. Be watching the movies so we can be recommending to you. So, but
who's this we? This guy has got to work at Netflix.
So Squid Game, right? But your point is like
and left us.
Imagine.
Japa, welcome to a new dispensation. So basically, Squid Game was the only market because I read that article that they did. They thought it was going to be a hit in South Korea.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't know it would go so global that Jeff Bezos congratulated Ted Sarandos, or is it Reed? And everybody speculating that they wanted to buy them as opposed to just good show. And so that's what I mean, that like, so on streaming, word of mouth can catapult you, right? That's when this all started. Because there's no friction. As you said, they're showing it to you.
Yep.
Damola said it's amazing. I see it on my timeline and I press play.
Yeah. No, I get
but
that.
So for cinema, that friction.
Oh, yes.
How do you, and because this is the funny thing about all of this, and this is the problem. Our marketing budgets are a drop in the ocean. Because in the same time that you're spending, whatever your number is, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. The breweries, the big brothers, the whatever are spending billions in that same time frame.
I'm coming from advertising where somebody is going to spend 300 million on a 3-month campaign.
Yeah, so that means that in the same time you're marketing your movie to that your 10 million, one brand.
Did you say marketing your movie? In the same time that you are shooting?
No. What I mean is that
In the same production budget.
Let's say you're proactive and you market for 3 months, sure you get.
Yes.
So basically, in that same, without your 10 or 20 or 30 million that you're managing, one company.
I said the one company has swallowed your whole production budget plus
your whole production,
marketing.
your pre-production, your production, and your marketing budget whole, and they still have change.
So you see that thing, yeah. So and within the other thing that is interesting, and this is something that people haven't really spoken about, but it's good to get our feedback. So the massive success of our skits and our comedians and all of those short things means that the same stars that you're coming out to the cinema to see,
you can watch them.
I mean, because I remember I saw there was a macaroni thing with Fowls. Was it? No. It wasn't macaroni and Fowls. Macaroni was with Don Jazzy.
With Don Jazzy, yeah.
Fowls was on Brother Shaggy.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, they're always on each other's side.
Yes.
And now
then you had there was I saw RMD on Shaggy.
Oh, really?
Yes. I saw Osas.
Actually cross-skitting.
Yeah.
There's Osas on Twin stuff.
So my point is that like, so you see that like, so it's not, so people were thinking before, it is stars, it is this, but it's not just, it has to, the film itself has to feel, because everybody that you're coming out to see
is being watched for free.
It's being watched. So you have to figure out how to build, because the effect of these things there's a lag effect. Like
yes, it's not immediate. It will be,
So for us, it's almost, because if you don't say this film is an event, why would I leave because it has to, and I think that is where, and I don't know the answer to this. So what happens in 2022, 2023, when literally
all the Hollywood movies are back?
Yeah, but it's not even the Hollywood part. It's that is that thing that happened in Hollywood where the only things that people saw in cinema were the big event films.
Yeah.
So literally those, like, our bread and butter is a high concept, star-driven comedy, drama, romance, whatever, right? So if those movies died in the US, right? But those movies are effectively most of Nollywood. So what happens if people stop seeing those movies in cinemas? I think about that weirdly a little bit too much.
So what I think the comfort that I have
Streamers.
is that the comfort that I have is that visual effects is still very expensive here and almost non-existent. So it's like the 90s, right? So the black movies of the 90s that we absolutely love, Boys in the Hood,
Friday,
what do you call it? Don't be a menace.
Don't be a menace to South Central.
Whatever, no, all those other ones, Best Man and all of those things. Those movies don't exist anymore, partly because the big movies, the superhero movies, the big budget, Born Identity and all of those guys took over. right? But you see, those movies that took over, we can't do it easily here in Nigeria. So we're still pretty much in the 90s. So essentially, Nollywood is in 90s Hollywood.
No,
and I'm fine with that.
So that's we're saying the same thing. That is the star-driven. But you see, those movies, it wasn't that people stopped making them. But they're making them today. People just stopped going.
Yes, now.
So the issue is not. So filmmakers love those movies.
They're different.
No, but they're roughly the same thing.
I'm not. It's happening, but they're different.
No, they're different. No, they focus on different parts of it.
But yes,
the same thing. So the things are like, filmmakers love those movies because most filmmakers of our age grew up on those movies, the romantic comedies, the John Grishams, all those things. So we like to make character-driven, star-driven, high-concept stuff because that's fun for us. That's the stuff we like to play in. But you see, these people did not leave Blockbuster. It's like these people did not leave that to come chasing blockbusters because they only wanted to. Remember, the one for us, one for them.
Yes.
But the question is, what would happen to us if we only start doing event stuff? Because to me, I feel it's happening in a weird way, right? Because you are beginning to see people try to do event films on the regular. So the question is...
So a lot more people are now starting to do like ensemble movies where before there'll be like one big star, maybe two medium level stars supporting and then a few whatever. But now a lot more of our movies are pretty much ensemble movies.
But I agree with that. But I think it's year-round ensembles. Before we used to save the big ensembles for Christmas.
For December.
But now people are spending big money because even what things like this year, things like Prophetess, MVP that made over 100 million, told you you can. It doesn't have to be
Go Stand It Out.
All those things. Like you can see that like people are aggressively targeting those types of eventization films. So you can see it is happening. So the question is, but does that then train the audience like they train them in America? Because in what's it called? In Korea, they still watch adult-driven stuff, right? And those things are also massive. They're like Parasite, for example, made almost $100 million in Korea before it blew up globally. But in India, the blockbusters are the spectacle films. So
it's only a matter of time. I think it's slowly but surely that's where we're going. And
so what does that mean for us who are saying that we are wedded to theatrical experience?
Simple now. So your budget goes up.
I think the eventization of film right now is in the casting and the marketing.
Yeah.
I think at some point we will move to the cinematography of it all.
And what about the stories?
And the stories, yes. So that it's not, even if you have fewer cast members, I'm a one location junkie. If you have a one location film and then you have just one or two stars in there, but it's so well shot and the story is so beautiful told and all the metaphors and everything just come together nicely, that might make that an event film. So it's not it doesn't have to be just this way for a long time. And even if this thing dies, it might die into the cinematography. But the
spectacle, so that's the argument. Like, are you seeing that people are... But the thing that spectacle is like an arms race. Once people start chasing spectacle, it's very difficult for you, because there's a saying in my other life, which is investment. You have to play the game on the field. You can't say that, okay, everybody else is doing spectacle. Me, I hate spectacle.
No.
Yes, now. So what do you now do if you're saying that I make big theatrical films?
You continue to make big theatrical films.
But Zulu wants to do her one location cinematography.
Yes, now, but it would be like what they call
but it, 12 Angry Men.
It would be like 12 Angry Men.
Look at Parasite that you just said as well.
Everyone is a star. This is my point, right? So that's why I use Korea. So in Korea, they managed to make their adult viewing dramas still be blockbusters.
Yes, because they're making it spectacle as well.
No, in America, they make it spectacle, but people don't come. That's what I'm saying. Yes, they are. No.
I mean, look at this Squid Game everybody's even screaming about. What about it?
No, that's what
that movie.
Let me give an example, right? So,
well, I've only watched 10 minutes of the thing.
Do you remember? I'm sure you don't remember this. There was a big Angelina Jolie film that came out.
Fire something.
About fire. Where she was a fire jumper. Right, where she basically was jumping out.
She was dealing with a forest fire.
Yes, exactly.
She was sleeping with a forest fire.
No, she was dealing with a forest fire.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it was a big spectacle. It's the standard movie that I would have loved as kids. Adult skewing, etc., right? People just stayed in their houses and were like, it's okay.
I mean, because
that's what I'm saying. Like Americans have decided not to watch those movies, but when that movie comes to streaming, it will be a massive hit.
So here's the thing. I think when we get to this point that you're afraid of, we'll know what to do.
But okay,
but we don't even have to get to the point. You know how things start to open up. Ideas start to come at a certain point. We'll get there, but for now, it's
if you look at spectacle. It's happening.
So if you look at it, right, it's the friction thing, right? So you have streamers producing better content. So initially, streamers were only for like series. But now you're getting like proper
TV type films,
cinematic movies in streaming. So if that's the case, you now start to ask yourself, why should I now spend money? So if you're in the US, you're spending $20 to go and watch a movie. If you're in Nigeria, why should I spend $3,000 for the tickets? How much for popcorn and all of those things? Then transportation, when I can sit in my house and I'm still getting the cinematic experience, albeit on a smaller screen. And guess what? I can pause, I can rewind, I can switch on subtitles.
That's the friction. And that is how they train them in America to wait. But that's my point. But see, we need to figure out the Korea of it all, right? Because they didn't, that thing didn't happen there. So that's why...
You know, their houses are small. So that kind of thing, they need to get out of the house.
No, because
So are London houses. Are Londoners getting out of the house?
Have you seen their weather outside?
So like, I mean, we know how, like, I'm belaboring this because I think about this a lot, right? Because, of course, we're going to make spectacle films. We will continue to make spectacle films. Yeah. But, like, for example, like this, but, like, there has to be that adult, high concept, star-driven. That's how you make stars. Because if you just do only spectacle, you struggle. Like, people need to remember all the Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Will Smith. These are the movies that made them. So and even in Nigeria, I mean...
But this movie you called all the James Bond, what are those things?
No, so they
action film that made those guys.
No, Enemy of the State, all those things.
Enemy of the State, no action film.
Yes, no, so that's their definition. So that's not from back then, that's not the spectacle film. How much action is in those films?
Back then, that was the spectacle film.
The movie that you're talking about. Okay,
Hollywood.
So a movie that was a spectacle movie.
It's like Men in Black.
Well, no. So if you take like a
Pretty Woman. No, action film of Hollywood of the 90s. That's what Hollywood was.
So take a Pretty Woman and how it made Julia Roberts.
And that was one of the few breakaways.
No, all of them. That's how they
if you look at it.
I mean, Jennifer Lopez, when she was doing all those
Legend
she was PDD dating.
Wow.
No, now she was doing.
She had an album. She had
it was after
before PDD.
Remember, she was doing that Wedding Planner and Enough. So she was making all those adults.
But it was after she dated PDD now.
No, well, maybe I don't know. I can't remember. PDD was like 2001, but she was basically. But there was a point where she had the #1 movie in the country, #1 music album, and all those things. So I don't know whether it was.
Let's stop slandering. No,
I'm not slandering because J-Lo is my babe, right? But like I feel like
you do the don't cost a thing challenge.
How will I do it?
No, Zulu is not on TikTok now.
How will I do it?
I don't throw away
even social media.
All right.
But yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, so see, this thing is like so it's so weird that like we end up having a very inside baseball conversation on this podcast.
This is why they don't watch us. This is why they don't watch our podcasts, and our podcast doesn't trend. Our solo podcast doesn't trend. Because we talking all this big grammar.
I think it works.
When we can just come and talk about what should we talk about now?
Hot boys and girls.
Yes, hot boys and girls. It's just that all of us are now married.
Just so you guys know, is that in those 4 movies, there's plenty of hot boys and girls inside. So please look out for those 4 movies. Charge and Babe, Superstar, Blood Covenant, and the untitled one. Believe me, there will be a lot of blood. There will be a lot of offing of shirts. There will be, some
Please, these films are 15/18.
And you can off shirts now.
Yes,
just off shirts.
It's just shirts.
It's just off shirts. I didn't say off anything else, just off shirts. Then there are some people that are in nice outfits. There are some people blowing glamour, There's some people speaking very big English.
He's the marketer. I don't know if he has made you want to watch any of these films.
I'm just saying, just look out for them. It's coming to you.
So I mean, I think we are at the end of this lovely episode. But I think, okay, so like just to wrap up, right? So you can see that for us, we think very, very, very deeply about these things and have all these weird conversations.
You're supposed to think this thing inside your palo. When we come out here, we're supposed to be gossiping.
No, because
so that people
because we want to continue to make theatrical films and continue to grow the industry. So for us, is fun, not just one.
You guys don't worry. Our next solo episode,
we shall be gossiping about.
I will just pick something from Instablog and talk about it.
No, we'll be gossiping about what happened on
Remember
set.
what happened in October and how September and how September was bad for all those celebrities. It was bad.
What happened?
It's over.
I will tune into the next episode so Kat will tell all of us about it.
It was a September to remember, as they said.
Wow.
Cool. All right. Thank you, guys. We will see you next time on the next episode of
IMG.
Bye-bye.
Peace and love.
Bye.